Elaine says, "Jerry, I can hardly console her." Jerry says, "Who?" "My friend Becca. She was in Reykjavik or Glasgow or wherever for a skeptics conference. She's on this panel about sexism in the skeptic community, talking about how people send her rape threats and emails, and men always hit on her when she goes to conferences. They don't take her seriously." Jerry says, "This was over the weekend? A guy I know just went to a skeptics conference in Dublin. There must be a worldwide epidemic of skepticism." Elaine says, "No, you're right, it was Dublin. That's where Becca was." Jerry says, "You get Dublin confused with Reykjavik?" "Shut up and let me tell the story. So Becca does this panel about sexism. Wait, no, I think it was a panel about communication or something, but she talked about how there's sexism in so much of the communication. She goes to her hotel bar with some other people from the conference, and they talk and hang out. At 4 a.m. she tells them she's exhausted and going to bed. And this guy gets into the elevator with her and says, "Don't take this the wrong way." Jerry says, "Ooh, not a strong opening. Almost as bad as when someone says, 'No offense, but.'" "I know, right?" He says, "Don't take this the wrong way, but I find you very interesting and I would like to talk more. Would you like to come to my hotel room for coffee?" Can you believe that? She tells a room full of people she doesn't like getting hit on at these conferences all the time, and then this creep comes at her at 4 in the morning, a woman alone in a foreign country, follows her into an enclosed space and pretends that he just wants coffee up in his room. Jerry says, "I heard about this." Elaine says, "You saw the video he made? I thought you hated watching vlogs." "No, after you started talking about Reykjavik, I was telling you about my friend Joe who went to a conference in Dublin." "He heard about it when he was there?" Jerry says, "Not exactly. He said he heard this really smart, funny woman at the thing. Saw her again at the hotel bar later when everyone was having drinks. He knew it would be stupid to ask her out when there was this conference crowd all around still, but they were all hanging out and drinking until 4 in the morning. Elaine says, "So?" "So he figured if she's the kind of woman who's by herself in a foreign country hanging out in a bar until 4 a.m., she's not going to get bent out of shape by a guy asking her to have coffee." "Get out!" She pushes Jerry backwards so he falls on the couch. "He hit on her after hearing her say she didn't want to be hit on?" "What? He didn't hit on her at the conference." This is Jerry again. "What?" That's my impression of Jerry Seinfeld. "What? He didn't hit on her at the conference. He didn't even hit on her in the same day. Does that become like a geographical restriction? Don't hit on a person in the same city? Or a chronological restriction, like don't hit on a person for at least 3 days or 3 weeks after they call a timeout? What's the range of distance in days for a standard timeout?" "It was the same waking period, Jerry. They were hanging out at the bar after that same day of the conference. It was probably a hotel where lots of conference guests and attendees were staying. They were practically still at the conference." Jerry says, "Sure, Dublin is the international home of skepticism. It's conference town. It's conference week. All the world's a conference and we are merely attendees." Elaine says, "What about the elevator? Isn't that a creepy place to hit on somebody?" Jerry says, "I just think people who hang out in a bar until 4 in the morning in a foreign country don't seem worried about getting creeped out. I would think that fraternizing or maybe dancing or drinking are higher priorities to them than staying safe. Not that they deserve to be mugged or attacked. It's like if you've ever walked past the door of Newman's apartment before, you know you're going to smell something not quite like beef stroganoff in the hallway. You don't saunter through that hall and say, 'My nostrils are doing somersaults. What in heaven is happening to me?' Only, except the difference is the atmosphere of bars are much more well known around the world than the atmosphere of Newman's hallway. Another difference is that some people enjoy meeting other people in bars for romantic or sexual reasons. No one enjoys the smell of Newman's hallway except Newman." Elaine says, "You're blaming the victim, Jerry." Jerry says, "What was she a victim of? Getting hit on?" "You just don't get it, do you? The elevator, announcing that she didn't want to get hit on. She's a woman alone in a foreign country at 4 a.m. Coming out of the bar at 4 a.m. That trumps the elevator and the unfamiliar surroundings and the warning at the conference." Then Kramer stumbles in the door, gets applause. George comes in after him and they argue about parking tickets.